Hi, and welcome to my channel. This is where I share my insights. And today, I wonder, do you have the formula for bad luck? I know the formula for bad luck. It's an equation. And I know the formula for good luck, which is also an equation. And so I want to share that with you, particularly if you have a lot of struggles and misfortune in your life. We're going to turn that into a formula, and I'm going to show you the winning formula for success, good fortune, and miracle. So stick around. So if you struggle and you seem to have a lot of misfortune in your life, the formula or the equation that you're going by will calculate in a negative way. It's an equation that never balances. And the equation looks like this. On one side, when I, then I. And in that mentality, you will dig yourself into a hole. And you'll live a life of the worst movie you'd ever want to see. It would be a person who spends their entire life preparing for an ultimate event that by the time they got to it, they were too sick and old to have any fun. What tears me up about that synopsis of a life is that it's a true story told over and over and over again. If you are trapped in this equation, when I, then you are living in something called the meantime. And to me, living in the meantime is hell. Because while I'm doing something, while I'm preparing for something, I'm basically doing what I hate. Work, toil, labor, preparation. And there is never a fulfilling life of a person who is in the meantime. And so let's apply this lacking equation to our lives. Let me plug in some variables. When I lose 50 pounds, then I'll go on that cruise that I was invited to go on. When I have enough money, then I'll, you name it. When I become educated, then I'll write that book, start that business, put my profile up on Tinder, whatever the case may be. This is the person who believes that procrastination is a thing. Can you imagine going to a movie and watching a person slave away in a cubicle to save money for a Ferrari? And by the time he's 80, he has enough money to buy the Ferrari, but he's too old to squat down to get into it. His knees are all buckled in. Can't drive it, can't enjoy it. He can't even see anymore. His doctor won't let him drive. What a terrible, terrible life that he lived his entire life in the meantime. How many of us live this way? If I had lived that way, I would have never gone into music. I went into music. That was a childhood frivolous dream that turned into a prosperous career. I never thought when I get a real job, when I get a real job, I can save enough money, then I'll go play a musical instrument. That never occurred to me. My brother works for a company that he believes will go public real soon. And he's grunting away, working in a job so that one day when it goes public, in his own words, he will be set. And I want to say to him, what are you doing in the meantime? Slaving, grunting, sacrificing, not enjoying, burning the candle at both ends, putting my head down. Working in a grocery store or something. I'm just using other examples. I'm going to work in a grocery store while I wait. That's, to me, a life of perpetual procrastination. Living a life of preparing and preparing and preparing and preparing, and it's rehearsal. There's no performance. Because you have to understand that that many products and services depend on people who believe in this shit. The insurance company is making billions of dollars on people who believe in this when I get into an accident, then I'll be covered. I'm safe. Charles Schwab and all these bankers are selling you a bill of goods. When you have your retirement fund, then you can really play. See, then it places the sense of security, safety, and trust outside of yourself. And who profits off of this kind of meantime living? Ring doorbell companies. When I see outside my door and I can see who's coming, I'm just absolutely, whew. It's like Big Brother. The more you can see into the outside world, the more more protection and insurance policies and retirement accounts. And what happens when those things don't work? Or better yet, those things attract a burglar. You see, that's exactly what happens to people who have ostentatious wealth. They become predators to financial scammers because they're wearing Versace and Louis Vuitton and driving Ferraris. They have what's called loud wealth, and they simply attract predators to themselves. In the same way as someone with a bodyguard attracts assassination. Oh, this bodyguard's going to make me safe. That somehow brings it to you. I think it's kind of interesting that Pope Francis would have nothing to do with any of that. He wanted to go around in a little Fiat. They wouldn't. He didn't want to have an armored car. He wanted to be surrounded by bodyguards. He understood that draws it to you. the protection, the insurance, the vigilance, all of that, that's misfortune. You buy into the distrust, and you'll bring it into your life. It's like the more you can peer into the outside world, the more unfortunate your life is. The more preparing you do, the more unfortunate. The more saving, preserving, trying to get ahead of the future, the more misfortune you have, because you're living in a state of perpetual preparation marked by the equation when I, then I. So what do? What is the formula for good fortune? Miracles. This comes when you become enlightened and you start diving into the inner world, the inner landscape that you have been missing, the fulfillment, the abundance of life that is you. Once you dive into this, you drop into the stillness, into the heart, you'll lose your fear of death. That's the first thing. And your formula will then be this wonderful thing, which I call the seventh day of creation, where God rested. It was all done. He toiled and labored and went, whew, whew. That moment when you can take a sigh of relief. So the equation for good fortune or miracles or abundance, the abundance mindset is, now what? And so we can apply that to our lives. Now that I have all the money I have been chasing, now what? Now that I have all the time in the world, now what? Now that I have the mate that I so desperately and lovingly wanted, now what? Well, you have to take yourself out of the workforce and out of the achieving in the toil, and you have to get to that fourth stage in the Bhagavad Gita where you become a forest dweller. You're all done with it. No more achieving, no more desiring, no more striving. What would you do with a blank clock, a blank check, and a blank schedule? Well, you see, too many people are trapped in lack mentality. They have not allowed themselves to move from the survivalist brain to the creative brain, which simply wants to play, enjoy, love, and leisure. Play, love, enjoy, and leisure. We don't believe, I say your average person does not believe that something like that can exist now. And so they hear messages like this and they say, this is this kooky, bald-headed guy on the internet with millions of dollars. He already has it already. So the ego is going to hear this as a lie, like I'm selling you a bill of goods in the same way that I might sell you a bill of goods if I were an alarm salesman. Say, crime is up and you need an alarm for your house. And you buy an alarm for your house and suddenly you have peace of mind. Or the stock market's doing well and you have peace of mind. The person who is no longer spiritually disillusioned or unconscious realizes that the sense of wealth, peace, joy, love, frivolity, and freedom is within the being. That you enjoy these embodied states first. And you realize, I don't need the accounts. I don't need the extra savings. I don't need the padding. So what do? You give shit away. You're with God in the seventh day of creation. It's all done. So you're generous, you're frivolous, you're playful, you're joyful. You're resting. Give it a rest. Move on. So that's why Eckhart Tolle is telling people, find death before death finds you. Go ahead, have your eulogy, have your funeral, have everything you strove for, and get over it. Be of good cheer. I've overcome the world. Done all that. That doesn't mean you won't have goals that come to fruition, but you will stop striving. You will live in the desired state. That place where you've sent your kids to college, you've gotten married, you've done it all, you've met all the people you want to meet, you've bought the cars you're going to buy, you bought the house you're going to buy, you live it to the end, and it's when you take that collective sigh of relief and go, done. Now that I'm done, now what? And you marinate in that creative space. Every day I remember, now what? Now that I have millions and millions and millions of dollars, now what? I guess I'll give it away. I guess I'll throw a party. I guess I'll buy a golf cart or something stupid. I guess I don't know, buy a swimming pool or an airplane. Or buy the dog a, what do they have at Starbucks for the dogs that they like so much? A pup cup. Silly things. Now that I have all the time in the world, now what? I guess I'll go ride my bicycle. I guess I'll go frolic in my backyard. I guess I'll dance. I did that today. I danced and frolicked in my backyard. But that's the idea. Play comes first. Love comes first. Joy comes first. Peace comes first. Safety comes first. All of these states of being that you embody come first. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and these things shall be added unto you. You've heard it before. The formula for good fortune is, now that I have it, now that I am it, now that I have done it, now that I have achieved it, now that I have it, own it, dominate it, whatever the hell you want to case, now what? Now I'm going to play. Now I'm going to play. Now I'm going to play. And see this shit right there? The ego can't hear that. Easy for him to say. You know what you do? You start businesses just to see if you could. You just start it. Let's just see what happens. You'd write a book just for the hell of it. You would get on the internet and flap your lips in a t-shirt. And I'll be damned if I change my format if it ever becomes successful. This is it. The message is clear. We don't need to dress it up anymore. We don't need to get lights and makeup and special music. That little jingle in my YouTube, that was by my friend Amanda. She said, oh yeah, you can have, she's a songwriter. My logo was made by my ex-boyfriend. I paid him $300 for it. No problem. Just homespun shit. Kid-like stuff. And if you can put kid-like stuff first and play and frivolity and joy, your life would change to good fortune just like that, and you don't have to wait. You can start living that way now. And if you're back into the now, when I have enough money, then I can live that way, you will never, ever achieve a thing. Because you're procrastinating the emotional states that are independent of the circumstances themselves. If you want good fortune in your life, you start living from the point of totality now. Now what? And you let your mind marinate in a blank clock, a blank check, and a blank schedule. And if you can't find anything to do, you're living in lack. Do the simple things. It doesn't cost you anything to go for a walk. It doesn't cost you anything to go to that fourth stage in the Bhagavad Gita. Walk on the beach and pick up a pebble and study landscapes. And be that guy that roams in the forest, or that girl that picks up leaves and reads books she finds lying on the street. We have these little libraries here. Just wander in my neighborhood. Oh, here's a nice book. That's the formula for good fortune. being the weird one who paints a picture. Now that you have it all, guess I'll paint a picture. I guess I'll cook a meal. I guess I'll go talk to my friends at the coffee shop. I guess I'll ride my bike. I guess I'll dance. I guess I'll better go to the gym and work on my body. Why not? That's a formula for good fortune, and you can live that way now. Because it's rooted in being, and the being doesn't need anything. The character needs things, but if the being is all centered and provided for and safe and secure, the character gets what it needs just like that. That's the formula for good fortune. My name is Ryan. If you enjoyed this message, check out my blog, mymorningmotivator.com. My homespun blog. It's free. It's just more kid-like stuff. See you next time.